It's a good day to have a good day. Hello, everybody. My name's Cece Ray. Thanks for joining me here at Break the Dish, where we break the news and dish out the tea. We're getting ready to recap the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 14. I know you hear me say this all the time, but wow, it has flown by. Episode 14 already. And I have to say this. I mean, I got to put this out there. Angel Wonk Wonk and big old bad Bobby there. Before they have a business on planning events, they should probably take a course on how to be a good host. Because some of the events in this episode are shocking. And I mean shocking. But we're going to get into it. Before we do, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because here we break the dish. We are recapping the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 14. And we are picking up right where we left off. Angel Wonk Wonk there is basically threatening her guests, saying she doesn't want any toxic energy at her home. So whatever anybody has to say, let's get it out in the open. So Wendy says, look, I have a friend who is a real estate agent that you spoke to. And that friend told me that you wanted a home that looked like it was $14,000 a month, but you only wanted to pay $1,000 a month for it. Now, is that stretching it a little bit? Yeah, because you can't even get a studio for $1,000 a month, like anywhere. But it did wake Angel Wonk Wonk up, because all of a sudden, out of the blue, Angel starts jumping up and down, and she's like, yeah, that's a lie, because my rich butt paid $14,000 a month for that property. I don't know. Was it $14,000 a month property? Maybe, I guess, on a short-term rental. But Wendy also said in her confessional, I don't think so. She's like, she's not the only one who was saying this. But once, Angel settled down a little bit, she says to Tia, well, I knew all about this. Tia's like, oh, so you knew the real estate agent. You knew what they were saying. Oh, yeah. Well, Stacy, the deflector, God love her. She's like, well, why don't we call the real estate agent? Get the real estate agent on the phone. Ask, why are you lying on me? Oh, no. I'm not going to call. Really? Now, all the women are giving Angel a little side eye here, and I don't blame them. I did the same thing, because listen, if that was a blatant lie, why wouldn't you want to call? Seriously. Listen, you're not supposed to be putting my business out there to the public, talking to people about it, number one, especially lying. So let's get it all out on the table. But instead, Angel starts rambling on about basically she has to think about her business up and running in 2026. Hold up a second. So your business hasn't opened yet? The event planning business? I believe she called it Let me see. I wrote a note. Wanderlust Outdoors Ethos. That business isn't really up and running yet? Oh boy. Which is just another nail on the coffin there, because if you are just getting a business up and running in Colorado, you're not going to move to a different state. Just putting it out there. But that's why she doesn't want to call the real estate agent. It made no sense to me, but whatever. So then Angel says, okay, now we got that all situated. Now, let's do some mindful activities. So all the women go outside and the instructor is there. And Wendy's like, how many more of these activities are we going to do? What I don't understand is Angel's like sitting above all the women. The women are all on the floor on mats. She's like sitting up high, kind of like looking down on them like they're school children. I mean, seriously, she's literally looking at them like that. Like, now you children, now behave. It's story time, But what I don't understand is that in her website, apparently she's certified to do this. So why isn't she running the activity? Just saying. So they go through their whole, like, breathing in and out and, roll your shoulders back and get all relaxed. And then they ended it with jazz hands, which that was a little weird. And then the instructor said, let's set an intention for the day. So each lady's going around setting their intention. And Gizelle, she cracks me up. She's like, my intention is to have my own bathroom. Gotta love Gizelle. And I don't blame her. But so everybody's getting up and getting ready to leave. And, Angel's taking her two little guests back to her home, Tia and Kay. And so they get into the truck. And of course, the conversation number one is Gizelle being ungrateful. Listen, I don't think she's being ungrateful, number one. I really think when you get like to a certain age, you don't want to play summer camp. I mean, yeah, there's times when you have to share a hotel room with someone. Okay, fine. But, I think I've earned the right to have my own bathroom. That's just what it is, Plus, you see the rest of the house has these large rooms and big beds, and you're sticking her in a closet. And I think 3 of them actually had to share a bathroom at one point. So I don't think she's being ungrateful. That was pretty much the conversation in the truck home. But what I did notice was that while they're in the truck, Angel is explaining to Tia and Kay how on their property, now they have 36 acres. It's beautiful. It's cleared out. It's not like all wooded. It's cleared out. How they get, bobcats and mountain lions and tigers and bears, on their property. I'm thinking, if you get that on your property, what's around this property that you rented for these ladies? Because there is nothing around them except woods, forest, trees. I mean, nothing. This house reminds me of a luxury hunting cabin. Seriously, it does. Where, it's not like your typical hunting cabinet, it's a little bit more upscale. You can fit a whole bunch of people in there. It's got a beautiful view, but all you're there to do is go hunting. I mean, like, there is nothing around. Nothing. And the ladies are back at the house and they're talking about, I don't understand why we all have to be separated and why we're an hour and a half away from her home. That's not what they had planned. And I mean, she left them with a plate of fruit and some alcohol, and that's it. I mean, it's not like, they can call Domino's to come deliver. I'm pretty sure they're off the grid there for anything or anyone. Um, so now the ladies are in the SUV and they're traveling now to Angel's home. And uh, they're talking about Angel, and Monique brings it up that, you know, Angel has a lot going on. She notices the signs because, they kind of have like, when she was married to Chris Samuels, it's hard when you have a partner that isn't really being flexible, doesn't really help you out a lot. And this is what she's seeing between Angel and Bobby. And Stacy does warn her. She's like, don't talk about her man because she gets really defensive. And, but they're also talking about the fact that this trip isn't starting out that great. I mean, and I don't blame them. They were under the impression they were staying at her home. They wind up staying in some home that is in the middle of nowhere, an hour and a half away from Angel and Bobby's home. And while they're driving this hour and a half, they are seeing, other areas. And they're like, how come we couldn't get an Airbnb somewhere in one of these areas? And Jazzy's like, I'm going to look. Well, right away, just like that. She found a home. Sleeps 10 bedrooms, has a hot tub. Yep, just like I said before. They didn't want to put out the extra money to pay. What I think happened is that this was not on the schedule for Bravo to have this trip. She was supposed to be in Maryland. Now they're back in Colorado. You want to keep filming? Want to fulfill your contract? You're going to have everybody go out there, and it's going to be on your dime for the most part. And I think Big Bad Bobby was like, I'm not paying for these ladies. And so this is why she chose a place to rent for them in the middle of nowhere. Because it wouldn't be as expensive. Seriously. And even Monique was saying that when she hosted, this was like, 5 or 6 years ago, when she was on Potomac before, she hosted a trip to France. And, she was explaining how when you're the host, you are like in line with production, from the accommodations to the activities. And even though Bravo pays for most of it, it's your name on as the host. It's on you, And I agree with her. This is just turning into a mess. So anyway, so now they arrive at Angel's home. And I have to tell you, Angel and Bobby's home is beautiful. I mean, it's stunning. It really is. It's gorgeous. They are on 36 acres. The scene, it's extremely scenic. And the inside matches the outside. It really is. I think somebody said that it was featured on like Home Digest or something like that, but I could see why, because it really is beautiful. So this is what she's calling her welcome mixer. Okay. And she has an oxygen bar set up for the ladies that comes in all different flavors, I guess, like strawberry, banana. So they all look like they've got, those tubes that kind of like go up your nose and they're like breathing the oxygen in. So that was a nice touch. It's pretty much where it ended, but that was a nice touch. So then they go outside and she introduces the ladies to a few men that are sitting around the fire. And one of them is a wealth advisor. He's like smoking a cigar, staring these ladies down. The other one is the director of a nonprofit. And one of them is Nina's husband, whoever Nina is. I'm going to assume that it's the designer because she did explain that uh, that her designer was there that helped her design the home. Now, I don't know why these guys were staring these ladies down like, they were the devil or something. But apparently none of them were taught manners because any proper gentleman would get up, nice to meet you. Would you like to have a seat? Can I get you something to drink? Oh no. I mean, the guy with the cigar, he literally was literally staring these ladies down. And I got the impression that this is Bobby's friends. Oh, and that was another thing I wanted to tell you. This is what I'm talking about when I said they need a class on how to be a good host. When Angel and Kay and Tia arrived at the house, it was pouring down rain, okay? Bobby jumps out the front door and puts a coat over top of Angel's head so that she doesn't get wet and walks her inside. Nice, right? Yeah. He leaves the other two behind. Not only does he do that, he shuts the door in their face. Like, are you serious? That's what I'm talking about. So, should I be shocked that his little circle of friends have the same type of manners? No. Even Wendy was like, I don't think these people want to have anything to do with us. You think? I mean, I was uncomfortable watching it. That's how hard these people were staring at them. Seriously. Not only that, but now she has the ladies sitting at a table to eat dinner in the middle of a field, not next to the house. Like it looks like it's a good walk from the house, like the back porch area. Like the table is in the middle of a field. So while the rest of the party is in the porch area, sitting by the fire, these women are freezing to death because they're sitting at a table in the middle of the field. And I think the only reason why Angel even sat there with them is because they were filming. Otherwise, she would have sat them there and she would have been up there with her husband. Like, I'm not joking. The food looked really good. It looked like maybe like cedar plank salmon. They had a chef cooking. So that looked beautiful. So the ladies are being served in the middle of a field. And Monique says to Angel, I really like this, Angel. I really like your energy. And Jesse's like, you didn't like her before? She's like, yeah, not too much. But I really like your energy now. And Gizelle kind of says to Monique, you mean you didn't like her, her energy earlier today? And she's like, yeah, I didn't like her energy. And Giselle's like, yeah, Angel, she's right. Like, you were whack. Like, you are being a host right now, but you weren't being like that when we saw you earlier. And of course, Angel, typical Angel wonk wonk, is like, well, we're here to have a good time. We're going to turn everything around. And she starts explaining that the next day they're going to be taking a plane to Aspen. They're going to go to visit Kimosabi. Kimosabi is the same place that Kyle Richards took her cast, if you remember. It's that place where they, uh, you know, you get like a really good cowboy hat. That's basically what I can describe. You know, they like burn them or something. Um, this is where all the celebrities go. And so she's going to take them there, and then they're going to come back by 7, and they're going to have dinner. And everyone's like, oh, that sounds really nice, you know. But Gizelle says, well, you know, Angel, we were going to call you earlier today because we have no running water at the house. Oh my God. It's no joke. They have no running water. So apparently, the water only runs for just a couple minutes and then it turns off. Then you see the camera like on the faucet filming. No water is coming out, but it sounds like a monster from way deep under is like climbing up these pipes. Seriously, the pipes are rattling so loud. And apparently somebody has to go outside to turn the water on, like flip a switch or something, but it only works for like a couple minutes and then you lose water again. So Angel's like, well, I'll definitely look into that. Then in her confessional, she's like, well, you know, um, I would definitely contact the homeowner because, you know, even Ashley and Gizelle deserve to have running water. I mean, I'm not that girl. Yeah, you are. You are that girl. Just to let you know, you are that girl. You put these women in the middle of nowhere. You leave them with barely any food. They're an hour and a half from your home. You give them some baloney excuse that there was no Airbnb because you're in season, which is baloney. And now they don't have running water, which, if that was me, I would be out of there. Then Gizelle says well, she's kind of addressing Tia and Stacy, and she says, I know I was being shady at the pony party that, you know, I teamed you guys together to, you know, do the sack game. She's like, but how are things going? And Ashley's like, yeah, how are things going? Stacy says, listen, I don't really have a problem with you, Tia. It's just, I don't know who you are. And Tia's listening very intently. She's like, really? She's like, you know, it's like you flipped the script. And Tia is like, you know, well, you made me step back because, you know, everybody told me that you were basically a liar. And I've only come to find out that everything that everyone was saying about you is true. And she gives an example of how Kay had told them that Stacy spoke to Chris Samuels, you know, Monique's ex, about the conversation that happened at Pride. And Tia says, when I asked you about it, I asked you, do you know him? And you said, I don't know that man. Now, of course, they're going to roll the tape. Stacy should remember that because they do roll the tape. Now, that's not exactly what she said, but what she did say was that, no, I only know him socially. No, I don't really talk to him. That's it. Well, that's not really quite the truth. As Ashley pointed out, she was like, this girl, like, what is Stacy doing? Like, she's just getting caught up lie after lie after lie. I mean, when they were all sitting, like, basically after everybody went to bed, uh, Stacy was explaining to Ashley that basically, yeah, they went on a couple dates. And, but she's telling Tia no. So, of course, Stacy, the deflector, is like, roll the tape. She should remember that because, yep, she was lying. However, Monique jumps in and she's like, I have asked Stacy about this, and she has vehemently said that she did not speak to Chris. She said, but what I do know is that within 10 minutes of that happening at Pride, Chris got a phone call. And there were only so many people at that table. So somebody called him. She's like, because now I'm getting letters from his attorney. And basically, she doesn't appreciate it because it could affect the custody situation with her children. Stacy's like, oh, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. Come on, girl. Fess up. Fess up. They even show you a picture of her, and I think it was from Snarky Side, Bravo Snarky, something like that. Anyway, they show you a picture of her and Chris out together. So, was she the one that told Chris? I mean, the chances are pointing towards her. But anyway, Tia, she comes up with the best line ever. She turns around to Stacy and she says, "You agitate my spirit." That deserves a round of applause right there. I'm serious. I mean, I'm going to use that. You agitate my spirit. I just love that. So everybody now gets up from the table, and now they're apparently allowed to go to where the back porch area is, to where the fire is, to get warm, because these ladies are freezing. And I forget who it was said to Angel, maybe you and Tia and Kay could come back to their house and have like a pajama party and stay the night with all of us. And Angel's like, well, I'm going to have to talk to Bobby because he wasn't planning on, he'd be taking care of the kids all day, and I'm sure he wasn't planning on putting them to bed at night. Angel wonk wonk. And Monique is like, well, that's dad. He's a dad. It's his children, And Angel right away does one of these to her face. I was like, oh my God, it's going to go down. Wrong one to do that to. But then they're like, well, just think about it, Well, of course she doesn't want to go there. They don't have running water. But then this conversation that really irritated me between her and Bobby happened, where Angel now is saying to Bobby, the ladies want me to go over and stay the night tomorrow night and have a pajama party. I mean, I don't know what to do. And Bobby's like, well, I mean, it would suck. And she was like, I don't really want to go over there. And he's like, then don't do it. I don't know why she was, I don't know what she was thinking. If she was like playing this game of like waiting for him to turn around and say, oh no, honey, go over with the ladies. They're your guest and you should spend time with them. I'll be okay with the kids. That's not going to happen, not out of big bad Bobby, right? And I don't know what game she's playing, but should somebody remind her that she's actually hosting this trip? And I mean, it just gets worse and worse. So everybody is now in the car and they are heading back on their nice long journey back to their home. Let me tell you, like, I would say they probably had 30 more minutes left of their drive when they probably hit this one road where, I mean, it is pitch black. There is nothing around. It is scary. It is eerie. I mean, listen, I'm a city girl, so like if I hear sirens and ambulances and people yelling, it's like music to my ears. But if you put me in the middle of the woods somewhere and there's nothing around like that, I mean, the slightest little branch breaking, and I'm like, what's that? What was that? I would never stay there. I'm telling you right now. So they're driving all the way back, and it is scary. And at one point in the car, I don't know who said it, but they were like, do we have security? No, you don't have security. You're in the middle of nowhere. You do not have security. The next morning, while apparently Bobby made everybody breakfast at the house, these women over here have no water, okay? And Jazzy apparently is the only one that's been in touch with Angel. And she texted Angel and said, you got some unhappy women over here. Angel's like, why? Because we don't have water. Listen, girl, you know as well as they do, you didn't have anybody check on this. You probably knew the whole situation. They are like the worst hosts ever. I mean, they really are. Angel Wonk Wonk and big old bad Bobby. Think about it. You have everybody traveling to Colorado. You put them in a home in the middle of nowhere. I mean, nowhere. You give a baloney excuse of, well, we're in season, so that was the only home available. Really, girl? It has no running water. Okay. You introduce them to your other guests at your party that stare them down like they literally are the devil. You sit them at dinner in the middle of a field while everybody else at the party is around a fire and warm. You've got them sitting literally picnic style in the middle of a field somewhere. But your business is planning events? Yikes. So that morning, Gizelle says, enough's enough. When we get back, we're leaving. I'm going to find us a different place, and we're out of here. I don't blame her. I would have been out of there the first day. I would have said, listen, Angel Wonk Wonk, you put me in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not going to make it to your dinner because instead I'm going to be moving to where civilization is. to where I have running water and I'll just worry about feeding myself. I mean, they're being too kind. They really are. And I cannot imagine that production was not getting phone calls from these women going, hello, we don't have running water here. But then again, maybe they didn't, because that's another thing. They don't have service up there either. Horrible. But you know what was really, did you catch this? So on the upcoming preview for next week's episode, the ladies are in Aspen, and guess who shows up? Mauricio. What is he not in? I mean, he is just living his best life, isn't he? I mean, he's filming Beverly Hills. He was on briefly the Valley Persian style because MJ works for the agency now under Mauricio. He was modeling something. I mean, he's like living his best life. Well, I don't blame him because, you know, his estranged wife there just bought a house in Tennessee. Can't imagine why, out of all the states you could choose, she would choose Tennessee. Could it be that her girlfriend works out of Tennessee? Just putting it out there. But yeah, there's Mauricio. I think he is like the man of the hour in Aspen. I mean, like, oh my God. But that was the end of the episode. It was good. It was packed. But I cannot reiterate how Angel Wonk Wonk and big old bad Bobby should take a lesson on how to host people. At the very least, a lesson in manners. You rent them a house in the middle of nowhere, an hour and a half from your home. When your two guests that you are allowing in your home arrive in the pouring rain, you jump out, cover your wife's head, make sure she gets in the house, slams the door in the other two wives' faces while they're running in. Your friends are at this party. They're staring these ladies down like they've got two heads. You have them sitting for dinner in the middle of a field. Yeah. Angel Wonk Wonk and big old bad Bobby. And Angel at one point was like, you know, apparently got back to her that Monique was talking, comparing her to, you know, relationship to her and Bobby's relationship. And she was like, shh, the only person that should have Bobby's name in their mouth is me. Well, here you go, Angel Wonk Wonk. Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people saying Bobby besides you. Just saying. Well, what did you think? What did you think about the episode, Breakers? It was packed. It was good. There is no way that I would stay in that house. I think these ladies are being very patient. Because, well, I would have turned went right back down that mountain. I would have. Would you stay? I mean, think about it, Breakers. Would you stay with a place with no running water? I mean, come on. No running water, no service, in the middle of nowhere. Nope, I wouldn't be there. Nope. Four Seasons. I'm sorry, what is that? Oh, yeah. It would be calling my name. But I love to hear what you think. Some of you might love it. Some of you might think, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe there's not. But you know how I love to start that conversation. So make sure you put the comment down below. And don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, Because listen, it not only helps me, but it helps your other favorite content creators too. But don't forget, here we break the dish.